Success. It's funny, we spend so much of our life chasing it, convincing ourselves that the next milestone will finally make us feel whole, and yet, when we get there, it never feels the way that we thought it would. And I'm going to be honest with you, my beautiful team, I'm in that place right now. I've been thinking a lot about success, about what it actually is, what it actually means to be successful. And even though on paper I've made it a few times, I've made it in a few different ways, I still don't feel successful. Well, at least not in the way I imagined I would. And people all the time tell me that I'm doing well in speaking, in leadership, in fitness, but inside there is a gap, there's a hole. And there's one question that I just can't shake. Will I ever feel like I'm good enough? And maybe you feel that way too. Maybe you're doing all of the things, you're working hard, you're building a family, you're striving for whatever goals you may have, and yet something still feels unfinished. Today we're going to talk about that. About why success doesn't feel the way that we expect. About why the world's definition will never fit you. And just how to define your own version. One that actually feels like yours. Hello team, it's your coach Bart, and this is the Built Resilient podcast, a place where we stop chasing someone else's life and start building our own. And I want to welcome you today into a very human conversation, because this one just isn't a topic, it's something I'm actively living through. So if you've ever looked at your life and thought, why don't I feel successful yet? You are in the right place. Let's try and figure this out together. And I do want to say a big thank you to everyone who comes back week after week to listen to this show. We have a whole heap of new subscribers on YouTube. We've got a whole heap of new followers on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. Welcome to the family. It means the world to me. If you want to join the family too, hey, hit the follow, hit the subscribe button. There's lots of more built, resilient content coming your way. Now team, let's figure out this success thing together. For most of my 20s and my early 30s, success to me meant achievement, more specifically, physical achievement. I was obsessed with fitness, with strength, with endurance. I had a morbid obsession with Spartan races. Anything that made me feel powerful and capable. I convinced myself that if I pushed my body hard enough, if I won enough events, if I outworked every single person in this gym, then I'd finally feel worthy. One of the biggest examples was a 24-hour enduro race I did as a part of a team of 4. It was brutal, it was cold, it was endless. It was a 10K loop that kept chewing up our bodies until we were delirious and, of course, sleep deprived. And you know what? For a few hours afterwards, I felt on top of the world. I felt strong, I felt victorious, I felt validated. I felt like this was success, but that feeling didn't last. It faded very, very quickly. And then from there, I climbed the fitness ranks through management and became the head coach of Jets Australia, a role that I'm deeply proud of, a role where I get to lead, I get to teach, and I get to shape thousands of lives, not just around the nation, but around the world. But even now, somewhere inside, I kept thinking, okay, what's next? What will finally make me feel successful? What will finally make me feel whole? I tried chasing numbers, I tried chasing events, titles, status, but the only thing that ever felt genuinely meaningful, genuinely successful, was my family, my kids. Being the kind of father that they can look at and say, hey, he showed up. And when you're standing between a life that looks successful on paper and a heart that doesn't feel it, you realize something's off. There's something deeper. And so today, this episode isn't necessarily about me teaching you from a mountaintop. It's me sitting beside you and saying, I don't have this figured out either, but I've learned enough to start seeing it clearly. And that clarity starts here. Success is not what you achieve. It is who you become. We grow up in this beautiful modern world being handed a script. School teaches us, get good grades, get a good job, earn more, buy more, achieve more, be successful. And then society reinforces it with status, with titles, with followers, with income, things that you can measure, things that you can compare. But team, here is the truth. Comparison is the fastest way to feel like a failure in a life you were never meant to live. Psychology calls it values dissonance. It's what happens when your goals don't match your inner compass, don't match your purpose. And you might be successful in someone else's world, but not in your own. And that's where this emptiness comes from. It's why you can still hit a milestone and feel nothing, feel numb. That's why you can be thriving on the outside, but completely questioning your worth and your identity on the inside. We chase borrowed dreams, inherited expectations, goals that sound good, but don't feel true, don't feel real. And the worst of all, we never stop long enough to ask, does this version of success even belong to me? Or does it belong to someone else? The research tells us that people feel the happiest and the most fulfilled when their goals align with 3 psychological needs. Autonomy, feeling like you have your own life, not one that was just handed to you. Mastery, growing, improving, feeling competent and feeling capable. And purpose, doing something that feels meaningful, something that actually contributes, something that serves, something that makes you feel proud of who you are. And not one of these has anything to do with external achievement. And all of them have to do with you and your identity. And from this, we can surmise that success isn't loud. Success feels calm. Success feels like alignment, not achievement. That's why when you hit those big goals, there's often a big moment of silence. Because your heart wasn't celebrating. Your ego was. And your ego gets bored fast. I want to take a break from the script here just for a second, because this idea of feeding the ego and not feeding your values is something that I had when I started speaking, and in fact when I started acting. Before I had cancer, when I was an actor, I wanted attention. I did. I can safely say that, hindsight being 2020. All I wanted was attention, and I would do a lot to get that attention. But every time I got the attention, I felt hollow. And it wasn't until I really got the wheels turning in my speaking career that I realized I was actually making impact in people's lives. And if that's you, if you're watching this video or listening to this podcast and you're taking something from it, that impact is the thing that feeds my identity. That's how I know I'm moving in the right direction. That is what feels a bit closer to success to me than just the attention or just the video or just the speech or just the acting. And I want you to take a moment and think about this in your life too, perhaps in work, perhaps in your personal life. When was the last time you did something and you feel like you made a true impact in this world? You made a true impact in someone else's life. And if it's been a long time, maybe we need to reconsider what we consider our endeavor or what we consider our goals. I don't know, team. This is an episode that's bringing up a lot more than I thought it would. Timo, let's define success on our own terms here. Here is how we can start rewriting this definition of success so it actually fits who we are. It fits our identity. The first step is to audit your goals. I want you to ask yourself honestly, which one of my goals is truly mine? And which of these did I inherit? Your job title, your body composition goals, your financial dreams, your lifestyle expectations, your sense of enough. Some of these may be yours, some of them may be the world's imparted onto you. And knowing the difference, I think, is liberation. And then once we've found the difference, step number 2 is to identify your values. Real success is the feeling you're chasing underneath the achievements. Is it peace? Is it stillness? Is it impact? Is it freedom? Is it contribution? Is it growth? If your success plan doesn't produce those feelings, you're climbing the wrong mountain, and we need to make a little shift. I'm going to take another break from the episode here. I've just done a little bit of a scribble on my computer, on my prompter, of my own values, because we talk about values a lot. And I know in your workplace they have values. You know, people often talk about when goal setting, what are your values? Your values are the foundation. But I know it can be quite confusing for some people. So I want to give you an example of my values. And these values have slowly accumulated over time. The first is authenticity, and this idea of how you do anything is how you do everything. I relate to authentic people. I listen to authentic people. I myself try and be as authentic as I can be, because I feel that is where the connection is. As soon as you start wearing a mask or start having an agenda, we lose the humanity. The next one is virtuosity. And this one I actually learnt through CrossFit. Don't hold that against me, I dabble. And one of the values in the programming of CrossFit is virtuosity. So I took it and put it in my own life. It's this idea of doing the common uncommonly well. We don't need the sexy exercises. We don't need the sexy diet. We don't need to do all the fad things to get to where we want to. We just need to do the things that work really, really, really well, whether it's communicating, whether it's saying please and thank you, whether it's putting your weights away after you do the exercise. All these little things add up. How you do anything is how you do anything. Virtuosity counts. And then the last three we learnt from Aurelian. If you know Aurelian's story, our son passed away and he left us with three very important lessons, which are now my values. There's courage, gratitude, and service. Courage to see the journey through, and the courage to break mediocrity, do something different. I don't know anyone out there that wants to be like someone else. So have the courage to take the risk and be brave. Gratitude for everything that we do have. Nothing is guaranteed in this life. And so the beautiful things that we know are beautiful, take a moment, take a second and notice them. And the last is service. If we're not serving our fellow humans, if we're not serving this world, we are taking more than we are giving. And that balance, cosmically, I think has an impact not just to us, but to the entire world as well. So if you've never understood your own values, feel free to take inspiration of mine: authenticity, virtuosity, courage, gratitude, and service. And start developing your own. And you'll soon start to realize your life and all of your actions in your life are founded upon these values. And you all of a sudden stand up to these values and make yourself a better person just because you took that time. Values conversation done. Let's move on. So step number one was audit your goals. Which ones are truly yours and which ones were given to you? And then the second step was to identify your values. So we're building a foundation here, team. And then the third step is to build micro evidence. Once you know who you want to be, create small actions that prove it daily. Not these big achievements, but small little behaviors. If success for you is being a present father, 5 minutes on the floor with your kids, that is success, that is progress. If your success is impact, helping one person at work, that is success. If your success is freedom, setting one boundary, one tiny little rule is success. Your identity is built in these moments, not in big milestones. And then step number 4 is measuring by meaning, not metrics. We've been taught to measure success by quantity, but real fulfillment comes from quality. How did I show up? Did I move toward my goals today, even just a little bit? What am I proud of? Am I proud of anything? Those are the questions that create a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. Team, I told you at the start of this episode, I'm still figuring this out. I'm a bit all over the place today. I've hit a lot of goals that I am proud of, and yet there's a whisper inside me asking, will you ever feel successful? Will you ever be enough? And so here's what I've learned so far. I feel most successful when I'm being the father that I want to be. I feel successful when I am present, when I am here, when I'm being where I am. I feel successful when I'm honest, when I'm useful, and I feel successful when I'm living aligned with who I want to become. Maybe I'll always have that gap in my mind, I don't know. Maybe that's a part of my story, or maybe success isn't a feeling you arrive at. Maybe it's a feeling that you practice. Team, my name is Bart Walsh. I'm a motivational speaker, and this podcast is Built Resilient. And if you too are still struggling with what it means to be successful, understand that you aren't weird, you are not broken, and you are definitely not alone. Sometimes it can feel so isolating and alone in our own thoughts and beliefs, so it's good that from time to time we can be reminded that there are other people in the same position as us. And I hope I can be that reminder for you today. Thank you for listening. It means the world to me. And for being a part of the conversation, being a part of the community, and to be honest, being a part of my life that I'm still navigating to. I want you to have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a wonderful life, and remember to choose resilience. Bye.